Okay. Так, 1, 2, 3, check sound. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, sorry for a long delay and long time not see. So finally on another live stream. So here I have a sketchbook which I actually use for outdoor sketching, and the whole sketchbook is dedicated to views in my area, in my district in Taiwan. So I've been like walking around in different locations and make these sketches. Primarily it's like 180 angle. So I was applying this theory I teach in my YouTube, in my tutorials, with this like curvilinear how's it called, curvilinear perspective grid. So here, like this, like perfect example of this. So we have like 3 vanishing points, 1 point in the middle, and curvilinear points here. Oh, I will draw again from beginning and I will show whole process. So sketchbook is almost complete. Just need one more picture, and I want to draw here a view from my friend's apartment. It's like same house like this one, and have view to school. And also here we need to finish some coloring, because I was drawing yesterday outside and in the park, and finish in my water in my brush was finished, so I didn't finish whole coloring, so we'll finish coloring at home. So here we have space for one more picture, so I will use this time photo from my friend's balcony. Here is a view from a window, from balcony. It's like a middle school or high school. I think middle school, something like this. And we can see this road, some far away view. It's like here actually in a very far distance, in a clear weather, can see the ocean. Yeah, but this time it's foggy. And here have a road and a river. So let's try do this. So in a case like this, no, usually let's say like I have usually I will like think like what kind of perspective grid or like composition sketch we will need for this picture in this situation. So in this view here, it's kind of like 3-point perspective with curve lines. So, and I can make horizon line little higher than middle, because above horizon here is not much, it's more focus on ground. So middle vanishing point will be here. It's like can just draw a bunch of lines just to have this idea. Так. And other vanishing points, yeah, like check. So, because here we have this house wall, which is not interesting to draw, so I will just focus on a view, on a street view. So let's something like this. So left vanishing point, let's say let's do similar here. Yeah, so and now I have 3 vanishing points, I have horizon line, and I kind of establish curvature. I don't use any like some precise technique to measure extent of curvature. I just kind of choose in the way I want it to be. So I can also, maybe I can like considering this road here. It's like it's showing us like which extent will be useful. So let's say I will do like this. In perspective grids, I find for myself more important is just to create this general rule for composition, which will like have idea of correct perspective. It's more important. It's just to make it look like it's kind of like it's right and acceptable. It's more important to make it this feeling than make it really 100% correct, because we're working on a kind of emotional reaction of the viewer. Kind of emotional reactions first, most important. It should, like on emotional level, it should look correct, should look right. Because on a rational level, not so many people will like really check if it's right or wrong perspective, or how much is right and stuff like this. And if it's your goal to show how to make like to make example of how to make everything correct, calculation of stuff, then it's one thing. But when you draw picture, then impact of your picture is more important than kind of being correct and stuff. Okay, so now so this perspective grid, which is similar I did for this situation, just horizon line is lower, vanishing point more closer to center. Also, let's say, yeah, like here you can see vanishing points here, horizon line almost in the middle, and this middle vanishing point in the center. Sometimes I just draw some kind of perspective grid without like being super, being super not precise. So here's like I have only one vanishing point with horizon line, and it's like here should be like vanishing point, but I only, yeah, like here. Yeah, okay, so I have like 2 vanishing points here. Anyway, same idea, you just have horizon line vanishing points, make some grids which help you to organize parallel lines. Just so second step, kind of, it's to place elements, as I say. Main elements is like groups of elements, parts of composition. Так, so here what we have? We have this groups of buildings. First I will just like place them as some kind of blobs, uncertain blobs, masses, right? So just to have idea of location of general composition. So here we have this kind of blob with buildings here. Here I have yeah, so here's, let's say, crossroad here. This. So I can little go out from my own perspective grid sometimes. Again, because now it's about placing objects, and it should consider perspective grid, but not be stiff too much, because here inside like view like this, it's so freaking complex. It's so complex. It's like, it's not like everything will follow only one rule. Here's like many different vanishing points. So sometimes instead of like calculating every angle, I just break my own grids a little bit sometimes. But it's good when you break rule, but you have this rule, so it will still have like solid construction. Here is interesting. So very interesting here, so I want to. So that's why I don't like drawing from photos, because I need to like zoom all the stuff. Okay, I see. In real life it's more it's like everything in one place, you just standing and observing instead of zooming in, zooming out. Also, in this stage, more important is to see how I want it to look on my picture, on my paper. More important is like how it will look here, than make it following reference. Reference just give you material, suggest you composition solutions, suggest you like maybe like some details, all the stuff. But after all, in the end of the day, it's will be picture in your paper. So, and nobody will see original reference, and nobody like super impossible, like super rare situation where somebody will compare reference to your work. Yeah, like this building look like a spaceship, and altogether now I start to reminding me like some like a space station, you know. Also, this is very interesting shapes of buildings here behind. So I'm super loose, because I did so many similar stuff before, and I kind of get this feeling for myself for which extent I can be loose in a pencil sketch. And it can be like super loose, because I don't care about how it looks on this stage. All I care is just how it helps me in the next stage. So now it will help me if I will clarify where is what, just like where I want to be certain on what I can draw, what I can fit in my picture, and how I organize all this. So it's like how many space will take each part, each element of composition, kind of. And this is very fun part too, when you isolate kind of this goal, when you don't worry about make it correct or pretty or something, and you just like composing this vibe, this like general vibe of general rhythms, very general. It's like you're planning song or melody, something like this. And sometimes can like avoid this step with pencil and directly start to sketch. Sometimes do like this too, but with this approach I find it's much more interesting results. Because you can really make it solid, kind of let's say like establish and clarify this like compositional punches. So looking here, like make something narrower, something smaller, like maybe even exclude something, kind of this. So maybe just even showing this part of work will be helpful for some people. It's like it really helps to realize stuff like this. It's like to realize how important this kind of messy stage. Also it feels for me it's like working with the clay, just like make some general masses which later can adjust I'll just so let's check this part. Here. Also, this is still kind of stage when you are observing. So let's look here. Interesting. You see, it's this like a brown line here. It's we can see it's like a stadium where people running. It's a school stadium. So this kind of elements, it's also interesting input in your visual storytelling here. So when you're including all these like original elements, like parking space, school stadium, schoolyard, parking in a schoolyard, it's like different pavement type. So you looking, studying all these elements, and you thinking, okay, which I will include, how I will place them and compose together, arrange relationship. So here I will do this river, this road here, and now while I was sketching, I will discover it, this stadium and parking, which is cool to include and being like clear with them, because you know it's like you can be like very small and not prominent detail, like even like little abstract, but this kind of detail will give this a cool feeling of like discovery for viewer when he will watch, and it's like, oh cool, it's a stadium. I didn't notice it at first. At first everything looks like something abstract noise, but then he started noticing stuff. For example, here, like here is like 1, 2, 3, 4 floor parking. Here is train station. Here is metro station, and here's kind of train. So in here is train, right? So even being so messy and over detailed, it still works. People who know this place, they will discover all this stuff. They can recognize this train station, they can recognize this parking building, they can recognize this train. For people who less who don't know this area, who don't know this place, who don't know how looks this station and this station, they also have this possibility to discover, to find it's like, hey, it's like some certain building with own character. It's not just bunch of details, it's real complex building here. And here is like really it's like a train. It's not just abstract bunch of lines. So because when I was drawing, I was thinking about I want to capture and kind of depict these parts of a view instead of just like instead of instead of only drawing like kind of close to me stuff, like making some lazy loosey lines and say like, okay, it's kind of looks similar, and but there's nothing to discover, nothing to find out. That's why it's cool when you with a simple lines, but you really put something there. Like you see how simple lines there. It's gonna focus closer. Anyway. Так. Let's see. So clay association here, clay metaphor of this stage is really close to how it works, because drawing this, right, is so many lines, it's so dark and all this stuff, but I have this ruler, full ruler, eraser, so I can make it lighter any moment and keep adjusting, make it more, maybe like more precise in some parts, and eventually I will totally erase all pencil when I will put ink lines. Hello. Так. So next. Yeah, so here will be, here you have this kind of building. So it's like a interesting shape with these three buildings. Here I need to move a little bit. Right? No. Yes. Right. Okay. Yeah, so you can see these three buildings, and they make a very interesting shape with this narrow gap here and this kind of stuff. Oh, now again I say, now important is just have this placement, where is their place, then I will draw all these details and shapes. But also interesting, I've been discovered, it's drawing such view on a paper in this size feels exactly same like if when you draw a mural on a 5-meter wall. It's exactly the same process. It's just like first like hour or two you have some time to adjust to proportion, but then you just forgot as you work with this huge space, and it feels exactly the same. You just like dropping composition around, you start to draw in lines, all this stuff. It's interesting. So my point here is like really like just drawing on a paper make your any kind of drawing improve, because it's generally same process. So even later when we all will draw in VR all this practice with paper drawing will be useful. All this will work for our benefit, and people who practice a lot will, let's say, we'll have all this stuff. Так, so here, let's see, I need to compose this road and river. Road and river. I'm gonna only to change curvature here. Here, and then take out this building. It's look unnecessary. Так, but I like this shape of this fence. It's like a flash. So let's see. Here's kind of road, park. Here is a lake in a park. This road towards building and this river. So it's like in my previous live stream where I was just drawing line art. It was kind of after this kind of stage. So first just taking my time, checking all these nuances of composition. And then when I clarify for myself, I just enjoy drawing line art with the situation. I will use Faber-Castell Pit Brown. Here road will go kind of this, some kind of swoosh on the right. In the photo I cannot see this, so I kind of use an imagination. But I remember here is like a bridge, so river is going here, this road going here. So kind of bridge here. Let's see. So even like I going far from grid, it's still like major of sketch, it's following grid, and anytime I can come back to grid again. So it's not like you're obliged to follow grid, but it's better when you have it, so you have something to, some kind of structure you can follow or rely. Like horizon line kind of. It's like horizon line is super essential, super important. So here we have some kind of park here some kind of river. All is like outside, because this wall kind of covering, this wall covers this view, but there should be bridge. So now, as I mentioned, I will more consider my picture instead of reference. So I don't care how it's exactly on a real view. So I will think now how to adjust for my picture. And I did this like that a lot, almost every time. It just change everything. Sometimes like literally just change everything, and it will looks better than if you, this will looks more real than if you will follow kind of everything. If you try to really copy everything and like worry too much about being precise. So make clear kind of manifestations of elements. It's essential, it's important to make it readable, to make it exist kind of in your work. It's more important than make them be same as in the reference. So here will be river, here we have some index. It's funny when you like draw like this in a street. It can take sometimes like an hour because you really want to make it your picture, and you want to change all the stuff, move around, and you stay in drawing like this, like messy lines of this dirty picture. People passing by, people look, and it's like, oh my god, this guy is like total noob. He cannot draw at all. Look how ugly is his drawing. But then when you like erase it and draw in lines with ink, and people don't see anymore all this pencil drawings, they just see how ink lines like so confident come from nowhere, and they will see like, oh, it's a magic how he organized all this stuff, why everything looks so flowy kind of and balanced, and why it's it in a certain zone. Because of this, because you clarify kind of this interplay in your head, And before, like for many years, I did it on a small thumbnail sketches. Just like, you know, take some piece of paper and draw many small thumbnail sketches. Sometimes should do it too, but mostly I will just prefer to do one exploration with a pencil when I can like erase, redraw, erase, redraw. It will still works fine. Like here, you know, it was exactly same. Like was super dirty. A pencil stage. Here was a lot of pencil. Everywhere here was a lot of pencil. Like here too. Then nobody will see it anymore. It's just lost in the history. Так. So. And I wish I kind of been clear with this long time ago, much earlier, and don't worry much about being like clean and making pretty picture on every stage. It just takes too much effort for no reason. It's like wrong organization of your resources, not so effective. Yeah, not effective organization. Yeah, all this is so cool here, like so find this some interesting angles. It's in my head is more beautiful than it looks now, because finishing sketch will be in the line art. So somewhere here. Also, when you have perspective grid, right, it will works amazingly for sky, for empty spaces. So go, because then when you will draw clouds or some like birds, and you kind of use a perspective grid for that, it will also looks better for represented space. Mashek asks how much time does it take to finish one spread page. Well, it depends. Like let's show you. Like this one, let's take about like hour and a half maybe. Depends on amount of detail and complexity. More objects you have and more you concern about being kind of correct, or like, I don't know, sometimes it's not correct. Sometimes I can feel like I can spend more time for composition, and I will make it work more striking, you know, something like when you're looking how to combine this circular with this curvilinear with this curvilinear, and how this curvilinear will go into this, and how this will, all these lines I've been thinking, I've been planning. It's not accidental. So how much you will take for your like planning, it's also kind of take time, you know. So you can like move on this stage, on the pencil stage, kind of trying to thinking about all this, how you organize these curvatures, how they will flow and go like from one to another, all this stuff. So here it's less complex, so it's pretty fast, like 1 hour and a half about. This one about 2.5 maybe, kind of this. Same about 2.5. this very fast, like 40 minutes maybe. I was just waiting after vaccine. This one also about 40 minutes. This one is like 3 hour and half, or maybe 4 hour. I was sitting and I used like G-pen, so I was really sit with ink and ink nib like this one. So it's like using G-pen is like little slowing down process, but also because it has so many these details, you need to more concentrate kind of to make sure they will look correct kind of, right? So like this range from about 40 minutes, 1 to 2 hour and a half. It's like 1 hour and a half maybe. You see, not so much lines, not so many detail, kind of simple composition here in terms of organizing relationship with abstract lines. Here is like complex part. It's this one. Check out this. You see this curve line, right? You see this. You see this. So this kind of creating this. My favorite pattern is like in a composition is like when one line like pointing in other line, which one will also point in another line, and they're kind of, it's like a trap for your attention. So it will like go here, then maybe it will push there. So it's like super dynamic, and also it's freaking concentrate your attention. It's really interesting. So this one I was like make sure it will have this abstract organization. Here abstraction pretty simple, it's just kind of this rhythm and just following perspective grid, also pretty easy thing. Here is comparable to other ones, it's like super easy here, it's just playing with the branches, almost zero perspective, just some implication. Or this one like 2 hour maybe here, about 2 hour. This is like 2 hour and a half, almost 3 hour. This is like almost 4 hour I think. Without color, color is the other story. So kind of this one like 5 hour maybe, just because I was trying to show organize kind of all these small objects. Like we have, you see, like we have lamps, then there have some pipes, and they're kind of organized with each other, and they also should be organized with overall composition. So it's just like required to a lot of attention, and maybe I was like overdoing it. Also drawing people, like drawing people is like a very slow thing. Like you need to choose pose, you need to choose what kind of person you want to draw. They're all moving. You think like, okay, maybe like here I will draw a couple with the helmets and stuff like that. So it's just like take a lot of time, only people. This one like 3 hour. Yeah, this one about 3 hour. Kind of this. Hope answer your question. Hope it's a good answer, yeah. Так. So then here, because this school is very important element here, like main hero in the sketch, I want more figure out this elements of this building. It's also so interesting. Так. This pencil's too blunt. I will take another one. I have a new pencil. Also about like time, how long time take to draw picture, whatever. It's you better should tell you yourself like from beginning like how much time you have, because like when I draw outside I have limited time, because like after 5 hours it's almost impossible to draw. I mean, you imagine like you're drawing 5 hours straight. It's freaking crazy. You start to losing your mind. So, in the best case, every time I wish to finish in one set, in one time. So like I want to have finished a drawing. But sometimes I wish to draw too much. I have like almost impossible desire, like draw like super complex, super detailed picture, and I start to like pushing all this stuff. It can be like super intense. And sometimes I will think like, okay, I need to remember I don't have like forever, so I need to really be more decisive. Say like this I will draw detailed, this part I will make less detailed, will like more abstract, something I will like just cut off, will just take it out from picture, like that. So this is how it works actually. Instead of kind of having this idea of some kind of race, you know, like which speed of drawing is good and which one is like boo, too slow, why you so slow. Better just being more practical, like just having it for a reason, like how long you have or how long you want it to be, like because you have your own schedule, you have your plan for like how many pictures you need to draw every day or in a week or stuff like that. This is what should be. And everybody have different style. Again, it's like sometimes simple drawing is not, I mean, like, yeah, like less lines, it doesn't mean it's like less good. Sometimes it's much better to have less lines, and the less lines, less amount of lines in your drawing, it's mean faster, like less movements you do with your hand, less time it takes. So this is how it works. And if you like want to draw like super busy, super like super detailed, like full of lines drawing, like super like meticulous stuff, just forget kind of worrying about time, because it will take crazy amount of time to doing like super detailed work. So you just should be ready for that. Anytime will be fine. Anytime is fine. Like 1 year, 1 week. Oh, here they have this very cool whoosh. Wow, let's look, what is that? Yeah. This is why I like draw stuff like this. Look at this. And so let's go here. So let's go in this trees kind of. Whoosh. Also remembering about vanishing point, it may be useful also for creating some whooshes, some cool movements, like here, like this parking lot, right? This following this vanishing point. We have a car here. Так, when the building itself, of course, is like totally following this vanishing point. Так. All these elements here always consider just like suggestions, and which sometimes, you know, it's like ideas for composition. Like this building itself is so crazy, so interesting design. At least for drawing, I don't know like how it feels like in a real life, because I don't know. I just look at as artists through my drawing taste. As artists, it looks amazing. It's like a school in Akira, right? Some kind of brutalism, probably. Anyway, it's like so much similar also to this kind of spaceship, and also have this, especially with this sun batteries on the roof. So it also took me like years to convince myself to not follow everything, but instead like choose and include like what I want to include in my picture, what I choose to include in my picture. This kind of approach is much more useful and more beneficial than thinking like, oh, I need to copy this, I need to copy that, I need to follow this detail or this kind of angle. No, yes, too stiff approach. This approach is like give you a lot of headache and very boring outcome. Very boring outcome. It's like, is this guy really trying to draw some kind of correct picture in this kind of how it feels to look at this picture? It's like, okay, I see he push himself a lot, I think he try a lot, that's all. But when you like in a passion, you know, when you're like kind of, wow, I like this, I like that, I want to put this, I want to use this, when you draw it this way, it will be like this, it will have this kind of energy in your work. I was like, wow, it feels like this, like look here, wow, so cool, have a road, and here's some kind of gate, and here's some kind of this just thing where it's like guard, gatekeeper kind of seat in this. Was like, wow, I want to draw it here. If I don't want, I will not draw, but I said like, wow, so cool, I want to put it here. It's like playing with the dolls, you know. No, I don't know if you're ever playing with the dolls. Yeah, like you are drawing it, but in same time it's like actually you're watching it. You're also like this, like you're first who watch your drawing, right? So you're first who enjoying it. And it's like, yeah, you're like interactive viewer. You viewer who have control over picture you watch. This is how it should feels. You're just have a desire, kind of interest for a certain picture you want to see, and somehow you have this capability to make it for yourself. You can say like, wow, I want to see this, and I freaking can draw it. I can draw what I want to see. It's crazy. This is how it should be. Then process became like real fun. It's like, wow, it's like I read a new chapter of Akira. Why I didn't see it before. It's like has this interesting view. Yeah, and I like a long time ago, like I was like 16 in my hometown. I was like working in some weird company drawing comic book for free, because I was just like so amazed by opportunity to draw comic book for somebody who will publish it, and eventually nobody published it, but it was a cool experience. And there was me and my other friend, like Yura, and he is so interesting guy. He's like, he was drawing comic books like I don't know how it's called. There just like was coming out from him like just in instant flow. He just like sit and put all this on the paper like crazy. And it's funny to was watch him how he draw, because he were like into it. He were like playing with his own drawings, like with the toys. Like so he drew like fighting scene, like or like shooting scene. He will like sit and like making sounds like like this, like make some soundtrack for his comic book, and it's like, wow, this is so fun. It's like for maybe for somebody it will look scary, like he's losing his mind, but actually it's perfect. I think this is perfect. It's like you don't need to listen Netflix in background or some kind of podcast or whatever. Just freaking generating your own action movie right now. Why not enjoy it, right? Why not put some soundtrack it? Why not like imagine like how it's all this like ambient stuff around your own creation. That's so cool. So it's like 4 years I was keeping it in my mind and remembers, like, oh, it's so cool. And speaking for your characters and stuff like that. It's like, hey you, what are you doing? Also, like when it was my first encounter with American comic book in my childhood, was like DuckTales, I think. Yeah, it was DuckTales. It was blow my mind too. It's like again, I think this is how you should to perceive this, what makes difference, how you perceive what your subject, kind of, right? So I was perceive these comic books like a kind of teleport to another universe. I was like, whoa, it's not just drawings on a paper, it's some real universe somewhere there. Somehow through a comic book I can connect to it. It was feel so kind of concentrated and deep, so amazing. So this was like my first encounter with comic books and like realization of power, kind of this media. So same kind of here is some certain alchemistry here, where with drawing landscapes. It's like you're actually trying to, no, me, like how I consider it, right? So it's something like more than just drawing landscape. It's some kind of like very old and essential like tradition, which have much deeper meaning than just depiction of surrounding. It's some kind of generation of our life context, let's say. It's like how you see things, it was created before you. It's not actually existed on itself. Somebody created before the concept of whatever we experience, all these concepts which been created by someone. This is crazy, right? This is crazy. Так, let's see. Так. Yeah, so here we have this thing. So zebra is actually kind of should be here, but maybe I will change it to here. This is how it works. And zebra will be here. We have zebra here. So then will be cars. Here somebody motorcycle, some people here. Yeah, I think it's brutalism, the style of this architecture. If you know better, can you write in a comment? It's really interesting. Also, yeah, I will need to off stream like in a couple minutes. And I will make second stream when I will finish this drawing with ink. So I think it's just also, I was like, at least my intention was to show this stage with a pencil drawing, because I usually don't show it, because as you see it takes so much time. It's how long? Yeah, it's more than an hour now. But it will be like 2 videos in one playlist, so you will able to see process. So you see how I am drawing people. I thinking like how I organize them arithmetically. Maybe like delete, erase. Maybe add more, maybe make some like a bunch of people, some group, and then they will like disperse around. So this kind of approach, I wish kind of get this idea of how I do it. So it's like what, how much, where, and how it's organized together. This is super essential. And on the next stage you start to make it like with the clay, make it more and more detailed. When you have this ground foundation, going to put in more details, make more details, and in the end coloring for me is like makeup, it's just put some colors above it, just to make it maybe like more readable. Maybe you also can make some kind of atmosphere with color. Sometimes shadows, like here, it's also a cool element. So with color you can show shadows. Or like here I try to draw night view. Yeah. So thank you for watching, and next stream we'll draw lines. I'm not sure next stream, maybe today. I'm sorry for being like sporadically kind of, just like so many work need to do, and I will try again to follow schedule to be more regular. But for this moment, I just like when I have time I make and stream. So maybe today, maybe very soon I will finish this drawing in a second live stream and a second video. Thank you everybody. Yeah, follow, share, write, comment. All this is very important. More engagement I see on the channel, more I'm motivated, and like when people write to me like thank you for your video, it's like super nice. I make my day and week and months. It's just like, glad to see somebody really need it and find useful. Yeah, so bye.